westside. I gotta go to BRONX now for an emergency call to check some phone lines. I'm going straight all the way on 9A up to Cross Bronx. Not a fun place to be driving. Man, it's raining. So I gotta just go check these phone lines and I'll be good to go. But gotta hit these roads with extreme caution. So yeah, there's been a lot of comments on YouTube, but I guess that's normal. I mean, you're gonna get comments on YouTube from people, some good, some not good. But I see a lot of comments now. Nobody's saying anything too much about my riding, because if you notice, when I'm splitting, I'm doing it safely. But I did see like some kind of nasty comments when it comes to that guy that on the bobber that crashed on 3rd Avenue that I posted a video, and I think his foot pegs, was a custom build, I guess. It looked like a custom build. Sorry about that. It looked like he had a custom build. On the bobber, the 883 Harley that he had, it definitely was a custom build. So his foot pegs don't look like the kind that bend away like on this bike or the XR or even a sport bike. If you drag a knee. So I think what happened was, a lot of people were asking, why did he hit the back of that taxi? It didn't. He had like two lanes to the right that he could avoid the whole taxi, which is true. But he leaned the bike, and then the bike low-sided right away. You can see it in the video. And I knew what happened to him, but I didn't post it on YouTube saying the guy leaned and foot peg hit. I didn't want to make it even more embarrassing for him than it was. But he leaned the bike and basically made contact with the pavement or asphalt or whatever, and then he low-sided. And the bike, you can tell he low-sided because he actually dismounted from the bike, but the bike kept going, sliding into the back of the taxi. So the momentum was continuing, which makes sense. It makes sense. It is what it is, you know what I mean? But people are making all kinds of comments like, oh, the guy deserves it, he's weaving, all this stuff. I put that to rest. Like, if you drive a bike here in New York, if you drive it as though you're driving a car, and you think that people are not going to come into your lane, come right next to your leg, and go right behind you, almost hit you, and cut in front of you, you're sadly mistaken. This is a very aggressive place to ride a bike. And not only that, New York has a lot of things stacked against you. Like, people don't respect bikes. Not always. And you have drivers that are not always expecting bikes. So I do understand that. That's why when you're lane splitting like this, you can't go too fast. You got to do it. You got to do it smartly. Somewhat aggressive, but pro-aggressive. Aggressive with intelligence. That's really how you have to drive here. But I don't think that the guy had a bad day. He didn't have a helmet on, and it was a fucked up thing. I'm not going to put him down, but putting him down on the internet and saying all kinds of things about him, it doesn't do any good. because whatever happened with his foot peg wiped him out pretty bad, you know, and it destroyed his bike. So I don't see any point in continuing the conversation. Doesn't do any good, is what I'm trying to say. And then getting back to the point about, I don't get too much comments from people because I guess they see the way I'm driving is actually safe. You know, California Highway Patrol has done plenty of studies on it. I'm sure there's plenty of debates about it. People think you're insane. Like I had one guy tell me in the comments, lane splitting appears to be a mental illness, which, you know, from his point of view, everybody has a point of view and an opinion. And maybe he had some dude on a sport bike fly past him and knock his mirror off, you know, so maybe his point of view is actually somewhat right from what he's seen. That's why I respect what people say, because everybody has opinions, you know, and you can't change that. That's what the world is all about, you know, that you may feel really strong, like I feel very strongly about lane splitting, to the point where if I'm pulled over by a police officer and they ask me, you know, were you lane splitting for a while, I would, because sometimes they're trying to get a feel for, I'm so pro lane splitting that I would actually get a ticket for it. I don't go out of my way and I avoid police, but if they ask me, I'm not going to go into a debate with a cop, you know, because you're not going to win that. But I'm here to confirm 100% there's absolutely nothing good about a motorcycle riding in the lane as a car. There's nothing good at it. Nothing good will come from that. And I've actually seen accidents. Like I saw a guy on a Harley and I've told this story millions of times. I've seen two guys get hit. I saw a guy get hit in the battery tunnel, which actually, interestingly enough, there's nowhere for you to go. That's why I don't like that tunnel. There's nowhere for you to split even if you wanted to, because they have those stationary boundaries between the lane. So they don't want people lane splitting there. Lincoln Tunnel you could get away with a little bit. Holland Tunnel you can absolutely lane split. So I just gave that guy a wave because he was real nice. The guy in the Jeep, he went over for me. People do respect, some people do respect lane splitting here. But anyway, I can confirm 100% from what I've seen and what I've encountered that riding in New York City proper, considering your bike to be a car, is the most ridiculous thing you could ever do. And I've seen new riders try to do it and get fucked up. There's not much you can do. Now driving, lane splitting and being aggressive and rev bombing everybody that you come past and smashing mirrors and stuff like that, that's counterproductive. I do agree with that. I mean, there's a time and a place for everything. If somebody's trying to squeeze you, you could rev bomb them. There's nothing wrong with that. If somebody purposely is trying to squeeze you, it's nice to give them a rev bomb. But driving everywhere like that just makes people get a bad taste in their mouth. And then they just hate bikers, you know. So my policy is I lane split to be safe. I do it safely. I do not exceed 28 miles an hour. You can see like that guy. He was getting ready to brake and then squeeze. That, I don't know why, but he would like to make sure that I stay behind him. Now, I'm not sure what that's all about, but I'm not staying behind him. I'm getting out of there because that's how you get killed. I mean, I almost got killed on the GW bridge. If I wasn't lane splitting, I would have been smashed, because I was lane splitting lane splitting around a truck, and that truck got hit by another truck. And from what I hear, the driver died because the load pushed into him. The sound was so loud, I thought a bomb went off. When the one truck, I heard, now I don't know if it was because the truck that hit him or his load, because when he slammed on the brakes to avoid a collision, I heard something, like it was like a load shifting in his vehicle, in his truck, and then the truck behind him hit him, and then it was like a second bang, and the second one was way louder than the first, and then it pushed into the cars. Well, you can see that guy. He's a new rider. You know, he's driving as though he's a car. You know, and you might get some people that won't fuck with you, but when traffic gets really heavy, people are going to do nothing but smash into you. They're going to be cutting into your lane. They're not going to be maintaining the distance as though you're a car, and that's the real issue. Now in Florida, lane splitting is 100% illegal, and it's not tolerated one bit. Lane splitting here is tolerated and accepted. I would consider it accepted, because nobody looks at you like you have three heads. I've actually had one driver say to me one time, I was like looking at something on my phone, and I stopped behind the car. I stopped lane splitting. I got out of the middle and stuck behind a car to look at something on my phone, and then the guy in the other lane pulled up, and he must have been a rider, and he was like, "Oh, you're one of those," and then he pulled away, meaning, you know, you're one of those riders that, like, he was looking at me just shaking his head, you know, he must be a rider too, and he was thinking to himself, how ridiculous, like, you're one of those riders that just sits in the lane. And I don't fault any guys for that, though, because, you know, you do what you want to do on the bike, you know, and the reality is, the person sitting like that on their bike, maintaining their lane, not splitting through traffic, that guy's following the law. So how can you fault somebody following the law? If someone's following the letter of the law, they're following the law. What are you going to do? I mean, they're following the law. They're not violating the law. They're following exactly what the law says, which is lane splitting is illegal, so they don't do it. And I could agree with that. Because it makes sense, you know, you want to follow the law. That was a little technique I have when you see people squeezing and you know they're not going to let you in, you may as well just go around. This is going to be pretty jamming. I can see that now. That's why I scooted along the side here. I don't want to get caught in that. Yeah, so basically, like you can see here, this is where I encountered a situation where a truck got rear-ended. This is not a safe place to be driving a motorcycle. Now, and I would have to 100% say that you're better off being between the cars. There's some buffer for you. Thank you. There's a buffer to protect you from getting hit. So if a car gets rear-ended or something, at least you've got some space there, a buffer space. So if a car from behind hits, maybe he won't hit you, or maybe he'll bump you, and then you get pushed a little bit in the middle. As long as you're not going 50 miles an hour between the cars and you get whacked around like a ping pong ball, you know. The worst that'll happen is you'll lay the bike down and do some damage. You know, to someone's door. I've never had any major issues though. Like, I had a bus squeeze me one time. And I got bumped from the left side, and the bike, I laid it against the door on the car. And I just paid the guy cash, because it was an Arab guy. He was nice, actually. He was really nice. He didn't get upset. He said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, oh, thank you for asking." And then he said, "Please don't run, because this is my work vehicle." And I said, "No problem, man. I'm not going to run." And then I pulled over. I said, "I happen to have a little cash on me. Do you think we could work a deal out?" And he said, "Nah, I really don't want that." He said, "Can you